European policing agency Europol is set to investigate what's believed to be the biggest loss of migrants in the Mediterranean in 2016. It follows a joint investigation by Reuters and the BBC. More than 500 people are believed to have died when an overcrowded vessel went down in April. The ship was allegedly traveling from Egypt with around 300 people on board. Investigations suggest it picked up an additional 200 people from a fishing boat along the way. Only 37 survived. To date, there has been no official inquiry, but the UN estimates that more than 4,600 people have died this year trying to cross the Mediterranean. But the shipwrecks are often not investigated. Well, let's bring you more now on this developing story. CCTV's Kevin Osbeck joins us live with more details from Brussels. Kevin, this tragedy occurred nearly 8 months ago. Why has it taken Europol so long to investigate it?
Well, Rob Wainwright, the director of Europol, says he is now very uncomfortable after reviewing all the evidence and reviewing what both the BBC and Reuters uncovered in their own investigation. One of the main points from this news investigation was the fact that it appears that the smuggling vessel did not leave Libya as first reported, but rather that it left Egypt. Now, you already ran through the basics of the tragedy that unfolded in the early morning hours of April the 9th. But the BBC and Reuters say after interviewing extensively some of the survivors as well as relatives of those who perished that it's now very clear that the all of the hundreds of migrants who perished left from a port just 30 miles or so away from Alexandria in Egypt. Now, the reason the survivors say they first told officials once they were rescued that they left Libya is because they say they were pressured to do so from the smugglers who survived along with them. So that is one of the key things here that has changed since this media investigation.
There will be some significant information emerging as this investigation continues. But what many people will be hoping to see, of course, Kevin, is that European authorities are going to take this seriously. There are concerns, of course, that there is an agency gap in investigating these tragedies in terms of the fact that, you know, there's rising anti-migrant sentiment in Europe.
Well, one of the troubles here is that this all happened in international waters, so the jurisdiction over who should investigate this can sometimes be a little bit murky. There's a lot of agencies involved in the Mediterranean, including the European Union, NATO, as well as all of the individual countries surrounding the Mediterranean. But the attorneys that Reuters spoke to during the length of their investigation, many of them agree that really the responsibility here is on Egypt to thoroughly investigate this. Not the European agencies, but Egypt, because the vessels did leave from Egypt and that the smuggling ring, according to this investigation, was centered in Egypt. Now, at this point, there have been no manslaughter charges dropped at the smugglers in Egypt, but Egyptian officials contacted by Reuters say they will look into this as well, and if there's any firm evidence to drop those types of charges, they will.
All right, Kevin Osbeck joining us there from Brussels with an update on that developing story.